American 1811 radar contact over the Alma VOR at flight level 380. Good evening. Southwest 1561 Jacksonville Center. Good evening. Ident. Aircraft calling was all static.
American 2827 at flight level 360.
American 2827 Jacksonville Center. Ident. Southwest 1561 radar contact over throttle at flight level 340.
Affirmative, 340, Southwest 1561.
Southwest 1561, descend via the Mate 4, arrival Tampa, landing to the South Tampa, altimeter is 3003.
Okay, 3003, and we'll descend via the Matty 4, Southwest 1561.
American 2827 radar contact, about 30 miles to the southwest of the Papa Zulu Delta VOR at flight level 360. Good evening. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome back for another Fake Weather, Fake Plane. You might notice the background has changed. We're kind of changing some things up here, kind of making things a little different, and testing a few different things to see if it works. So you might have noticed the different bottom, my logo now on the bottom there, and some new views on the just looking a little bit more organized, at least trying to. I do have the wrong frequency in there because that is definitely not my frequency right now. I'm going to fix that. 135.925. There we go. So just a little different. Trying something a little different. Trying to get some new things going. Going to send out the message to everyone. Profile. There we go. So the message went out. Not a lot of traffic tonight. Kind of quiet. I'm perfectly fine with that because that gives me time to answer your questions. Feel free to ask them. And don't think that any question is dumb. I'd rather you ask.
Jacksonville Center, good evening, American 2133, flight level 350 west of Delta Echo Foxtrot Uniform, November 20.
American 2133, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Radar contact as reported. Descend via the Grinch 5, arrival Orlando, landing to the south. Orlando altimeter is 3006.
Grinch 5, arrival, and altimeter 3006, landing south in Orlando. Gotcha, American 2133.
So as I said, it's gonna...
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Pilot Club 1496 overflew Belvins at flight level 350.
Pilot Club 1496, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Radar contact is reported. Good evening. So Dave, we are close. It's the viewers. Average viewer per your stream is 2.6 right now. We gotta get more people watching. Tell friends, family, coworkers, parole officers, anyone. But that was the issue. Is the number of we have everything else. Just gonna get the number of people that are constantly watching the stream. We got the number of people.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. TWI 629, flight level 320, currently 22 miles northwest of Chesterfield, DME.
TWA 629, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Radar contact as reported. Yeah, we definitely have enough followers. We actually up to 68 followers on the stream, but that's still not enough. Come on, we need more people. Always got to get more people into this thing, but we need the constant viewers. You got to have a minimum of 3, average of 3, per the amount of hours, and I've streamed for like 38 hours, and it's like, you got 2.6. And a friend of mine goes, well, just don't stream. I'm like, no. America 2827, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services terminated. Forget the change approved. I'm not going to safe flight.
Are you going to count for American 27 or 2827? Have a great day.
Something I want to talk about. So we talked 2 streams ago about craft clearance. So we talked about craft last time. This time we're going to talk about the readback and the taxi instructions. So craft, as a reminder: clearance, route, altitude, frequency, transponder. Those are the things given in a clearance, an IFR clearance, I should say. So what are you required to read back? So the only things that you are required, if nothing changes, is you read back the squawk code. And why might that be? Well, nothing changed. Clearance. You filed the flight plan. It's not like the dispatch did it. So you filed the flight plan. So you know what your clearance limit is. The route, as long as nothing changed, is the one you filed. Altitude, the initial altitude is on the chart, and the cruise altitude is what you filed, as long as nothing changed. Frequency is actually on the chart too, the departure frequency. So you really have to read the transponder. Now, that is a VATSIM-ism. I will tell you that all day long. It's a VATSIM-ism. I know in the real world, they read the whole thing back if they need to. But they also deal with dispatches doing their thing. They also do have different things. So what I recommend, read the whole thing. It doesn't hurt. If the controller specifically asks you not to read the whole thing, i.e. read back squawk code only, obey him. He might be dealing with a ton of people. I don't like doing that. That seems to me like a cop-out. You know, if you're going to read back the squawk code, you know, if you're going to do a clearance, read back the whole clearance. But the only thing you are required, if anything else changed, is that transponder. Then after that, you're going to get something that's going to sound similar to read back correct, push and start at your discretion, contact me for taxi, expect runway. Sometimes. I will tell you there's a whole lot of controversy over this in the VATSIM community. The biggest controversy is we are doing top-down services. So a ground controller is doing top-down. So if it was just a clearance delivery guy, he's going to say read back correct. End of story. Ground's doing top-down. He's going to do clearance delivery and ground. He may say just read back correct. If he just says that, that means it's your responsibility to see what your next step is. How do you do that? Look at that ATIS. See what it says in the ATIS. I'm going to pull, really quickly, the Orlando International ATIS. This is the VATSIM one, because we have a VATSIM controller online. No TAMs, airport surveillance detection and use, use your transponder, all airport services, bright lights, read back, hold short instructions and runway assignments, advising you have information for Lima. Notice what it doesn't say? Push back at discretion. But the PDC kind of gives you that away.
Jacksonville Center, Southwest 1561. I got information Bravo in Tampa shows landing north now.
They haven't put anything on the VATSIM, and he doesn't have an ATIS up, so I would say he's still in south.
All right, affirmative, we'll plan on Southwest 1560.
Thanks. It is on the YouTube stuff. I do, the fake weather, fake planes is on the YouTube. So, great thing here is, so we got to figure out what's in that PDC, and the PDC will usually tell you it. Maybe not directly. It might say, contact me for taxi. So that means the pushback is at your discretion. That means the startup is at your discretion. It's saying, just contact me when you're ready for taxi. Which is humongous. It might also say, contact me for pushback. it might say, contact me holding short a certain position at MCO or any other field, ready for your taxi. So let them tell you. It usually is somewhere labeled. If you don't know, feel free to ask. Again, it goes back to I'd rather you ask and get it wrong. But always check to make sure you have the things you need. You know, if it says it in the ATIS, if it says it in that PDC, do it. If the controller says it to you, contact me when ready for taxi. Perfect. Now, you will not get that runway assignment usually until you ask for taxi. So how do we handle this? Well, the easiest way to do it is if you're at a single field runway, look at the ATIS. The ATIS will give it away. If you're at Myrtle Beach and it says runway 18, guess what runway you're getting? Runway 18. That was tough. But say that you were at Orlando. It's got 4 runways. What's the easiest way to figure out? Well, we look at the ATIS. The ATIS says that they're landing south, so that means it's they even say it. Let's see, departure ATIS. 18 left, 18 right, and 17 right. Okay, so we have a general idea. It's one of those 3. Now, a lot of these SIDS and stars are runway dependent. What does that mean? It means that that departure goes a certain way on a certain runway. So if it was Orlando, if you're going to the west, if you're taking a departure to the west, they're going to put you on a western runway. It's intentional. 1, to prevent cross-complex, which means going over the top of each other, or going in over the top of the field. 2, to allow a better flow. So, you can kind of assume, say I'm going on the west, I'm going to take 18 left. That's the closest runway I am to at. So it's doing the process of elimination if they don't give it to you. A lot of RTACs will give it to you. They will tell you, expect runway, whatever. And the other thing. Now,
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Vision Jet November 865 Echo Kilo. It's 9.6, climbing at 16,000.
5 Echo Kilo, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Now, the next thing. What should we do with that ATIS? We need to tell the controller.
Jax, hello, Air Canada 117 Heavy 400.
Air Canada 117 Heavy, Jacksonville Center. Good evening, ident. We got to tell the controller we have it. So, a great way to know that, what the letter is, a lot of people think, oh, you got to listen to it. Actually, you don't. If you double click on it, it will actually pull the text version of it. Air Canada 117 radar contact just to the east of the Charlotte VOR. At flight level 400, good evening.
Good evening.
It will actually give you a text version, so you don't actually ever lose it. You can see it says Information Lima, so when you check in saying, okay, I'm ready for taxi, I have Information Lima, perfect. But you also want to check that Information Lima. Make sure you know what that Information Lima is. It will tell you exactly what you need. Altimeter is 3006. The wind 126 at 10. It's kind of breezy. 10 statute miles visibility broken at 6,500. Broken at 30,000. It gives you what you need. So always make sure you know that. 5 Echo Key, leaving my airspace to the south. Miami's offline radar services. Terminator pick up change approved. Mark, have a safe flight.
Thanks a lot. Switch over your car for 5 Echo Kilo.
So, when you're ready for taxi or pushback, if you're asking for pushback, make sure you're asking for pushback. You know, and say where you are on the field. We don't know. Yes, I have a tower view open, but I may not know where you are on the field. I may not be actively looking, so I need to know. Southwest 1561, contact Tampa approach on 118.15.
Okay, Tampa approach 118.15, Southwest 1561.
So tell me where you are in the field. tell me you have the ATIS information and tell me what you want. American 7 at gate, holding short, Echo 5, with information Lima, requesting taxi to the active. Boom, done. It's that easy. And they give you taxi instructions, and so many people say, what do I need to read back at the taxi instructions? Do I just say, okay? No. Don't just say, okay. That's a big no. Feel free to read back exactly what they said. So if they said, you're runway 18 left, taxi via, or runway 18 taxi via Alpha, you can say, runway 18 taxi via Alpha, American 7. It's that simple. We could then be reading back all hold short and taxi instructions. We know, first it reaffirms you know what runway you're going to and taking off from, and you know how to get there. So read that back. It doesn't hurt. I've heard it so many times. People go runway 18, yeah. Well, that doesn't really, it tells me the runway, but doesn't tell me how you're getting there. Read back what they say. It doesn't hurt. The other thing that is very helpful, thank you, NaviGraph, for your latest addition. I haven't used it in this. I think it works. MCO, we're just going to pull the Orlando map out. So, this is the Orlando map. So, say we were here at airside 3, and we're going to 18 left. He's going to say taxi via Charlie Bravo 1. You can actually now draw Charlie Bravo 1. Draw it. It helps to have that map open. This is why I say charts are imperative. You can find everything you need on those charts. You got to have those charts open because he's going to say that you were going to runway 17 right for some reason, and you're over here at Bravo 6. He's going to say taxi via Charlie Echo Golf Hotel 1. Well, you could write it down, yes. And you should. Okay, I'm going to do Charlie Echo Golf Hotel 1. And notice that you have a hotel here that's in the way. Always confirm what you're going to do so you know what you're going to do. Write it down. I always have a sheet of paper in front of me for things that I may not remember to do. Got to write them down. The more you write it down, the less chance you make a mistake. And we want people to not have mistakes. We want you to enjoy your controlling session. So that's what do we do after clearance delivery into taxi? I'm going to say it again in probably another hour. But I hope that's informative. If you're going to the gate, do the same thing.
November 4 Sierra Bravo at flight level 450.
November 4 Sierra Bravo Jacksonville Center ident. November 4 Sierra Bravo radar contact just south of the Victor November Alpha VOR. Descend via the Grinch 5 arrival, Orlando landing to the south, Orlando altimeter 3006.
Descend via the Grinch 5 arrival, altimeter 3006, November 4 Sierra Bravo.
Jacksonville, good evening. Foothills 420 on the ground in Daytona, looking to pick up IFR to Pompano.
Aircraft calling just the call sign.
Foothills 420, Foxtrot Tango Hotel.
Foothills 420, you're clear to the Mike Papa Airport via radar vectors inland. Then as filed, maintain 4000. Expect flight level 250, 10 minutes of departure. Departures with me, squawk 3214.
Cleared to Pompano via radar vectors. 4000 on departure. Expect 250 and 10. Departure with you, squawk 3214, Foothills 420.
Foot here 420, read back correct. Push your stars at your discretion. Contact me for taxi. Daytona altimeter is 3007. Expect runway 7 left.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. Southwest 2389 is 41 miles southeast of Grand Strand, flight 0.
Southwest 2389 Jacksonville Center, radar contact is reported. Good evening.
Good evening.
Jack Center, good evening. Sunwing 324 with you, flight level 350.
Sunwing 324 Jacksonville Center, good evening. Ident. Pilot Club 1496, leaving my airspace of South Miami's offline radar services. Terminator, forget the change approved. My crew, have a safe flight.
Forget the change approved for Pilot Club 1496. Have a good night.
Need the lows.
Jack Center, good evening. Air Transat 463 with you, flight level 410.
Air Transat 463, Jacksonville Center, ident. There it is. Sunwing 324 radar contact about 40 miles to the north of the St. Petersburg VOR, flight level 350. Transat 463 radar contact about 20 miles south of Pelican at flight level 410. So let's talk about the readback that was given. So the Foothills 420, he said cleared to the airport via radar vectors. Oh, yes, but radar vectors to what? Radar vectors over the ocean, radar vectors to the moon, radar vectors to Kansas City. Everything else he got right, but those are the things that we need to make sure we have in that readback. Read back what was said. That's why we write down craft. That's why we put that stuff in there, so that when we know what the readback is, we're not trying to second guess ourselves. When we get some more clearances, hopefully we get some more. We'll talk some more and see what was missing, or did they get
Jack
it right?
Center, Foothills 420 is ready to taxi, and we could take intersection Papa 3.
Foothills 420 runway 7 left taxi via Papa 3.
Papa 3 to 7 left, Foothills 420.
And he read it back perfectly. Ideal situation right there. We talked about taxi instructions. Papa 3. He said it perfectly. Because then I know where he's going and how he's getting there. Now, I don't have an ATIS up, so I assume he has the weather. I did give him the altimeter, so that does help. And thanks for all those following or just came on the stream. Welcome. Make sure we follow. Make sure we like. We subscribe. Do all the cool things. At least I think they're cool.
Jack Center, Foothills 420. Looks like we're going to have to restart here.
Roger. Oops. Something must have broke. Might have a close situation here. We got two planes pretty close here. Not too bad. One's definitely going a lot faster than the other one, so I'm guessing the jet stream's pushing this one down. But we'll see what happens here. A lot of Miami overflight tonight, which is perfectly fine. And as I say at the top of the stream, it's the question night. It's a quiet night. If you've got a question that you're going to go and say, I'm ashamed of this question, I'd rather you ask it. I'd rather you say to me, hey, what do I do with this? I had this situation. Or what do you do? How do you handle a situation like this? Now, I can't tell you how to fly your plane. There's plenty of videos.
Jackson Center, good evening. November 5 Alpha Mike with you, climbing through 11200 for 12000.
November 5 Alpha Mike, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Climb, maintain flight level 200.
Up to flight level 200, 5 Alpha Mike.
But if you got a question about something related to ATC, feel free to ask. Another with you. Don't say with you, people. Oops, helps if I type incorrectly. P.S. Good evening. I can type. I swear to it. Squawk. 2130 and a dent. What's my backstory? What got me into VATSIM and flight simming? So, when I was in the military, in the United States Marine Corps, I loved planes. I still love planes. It is my passion. I love flying. I love planes. And I was doing this Microsoft Flight Sim thing for, umpteen years. And didn't learn about the ATC side of stuff for a while. And then I joined the infamous VA, Virtual Airline. And I was flying offline. The VA did not require online flying. I was flying offline, but they had events and stuff. And I was like, let me try this out. Let me see if it's something I want to be a part of. And I did but I was scared to go online. I've never talked to controllers. I've never, any of that stuff. But I said, okay, let's...
And Jacksonville Hills 420 will be moving here in a minute.
Roger. The taxi instruction is still good, 420. So I said, okay, I'll start. And a friend of mine said, join me at the network. We went out of, I think it was GSO to Charlotte. And it was on a CRJ-7 in FSX. And I didn't know what to say. I
Jackson Center, Division 2 Charlie Papa VFR request.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 2 Charlie Papa just off of Orangeburg Airport at 3,500. Kilometer 13.5, requesting flight following to Hilton Head.
2 Charlie Papa, squawk 2612 and say aircraft type.
2612 in the box, aircraft type is Vision Jet, Slant Lima.
To Charlie Papa, or contact, maintain appropriate VR altitudes, proceed on course.
2 Charlie Papa.
So, I did that
Back center, TWA 629, we actually had to disconnect.
Roger. So, I did that flight, and I got hooked, and started doing it more, and more, and more. And I had never thought about the ATC stuff. So, then I said, you know what? Let me try the ATC stuff. And this was way before the VATSIM Academies existed. It was way before any of the cool stuff existed. I said, I'm going to try it. And I did. And it became something I was so addicted to I couldn't stop. American 2133 maintained 310 knots in the transition.
310 knots in the transition, American 2133.
4 Sierra Bravo maintained 280 knots in the transition.
Say again for 4 Sierra Bravo?
4 Sierra Bravo maintained 280 knots in the transition.
Maintain 280 knots in transition, November 4 Sierra Bravo.
So I started
Hey,
doing.
Jack Center. Sorry about that. American 2133, we have to burn some fuel. We don't have a Jetson in the 737.
Say again? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
We had to go like really slow with a lot of drag to burn some fuel. We were over our maximum landing weight. We don't have a Jetson option in this airplane. American 2133.
Roger. I got a plane coming right up at your backside, so all I'll do is I'll just revector you around. Turn left heading 090 for me.
090, left heading American 2133.
And thanks for the following, Darth D3NN15. So I started doing it, and I started controlling, and I started at Boston, and I don't recommend that. I do not recommend that. They are an extremely busy airspace, and their training is extremely. It's a tough
Center, we did take care of the fuel situation, so it's no longer a concern. American 2133.
Roger, 2133. Then you can proceed direct Grinch.
Direct Grinch, American 2133. Thank you.
American 1811, leaving my airspace of South Miami's offline. See ya.
Over to you, Com. See you, man.
So, I then transferred to ZDC.
Jacksonville, Foothills 420 is ready to go. 7 left to Pop 3.
Foothills 420, wind 100 at 3, runway 7 left at Papa 3, clear for takeoff upon departure, fly runway heading.
Runway heading, clear for takeoff, 7 left to Papa 3, Foothills 420.
So, I started ZDC and I earned all of my ranks. Now, this is something I say to a lot of people. Don't think you're going to become a center controller overnight. I did not become a center controller until 4 years after starting doing this. It took a long while, but it's not impossible. Take your time. I actually was a ground controller for a very long time, tower controller, and then Tracon for a very long time. Take your time, learn these things, learn the SOPs, learn how to do things properly, and talk to those who are there. Every RTAC has a Twitch or TeamSpeak, whatever it might be. Talk to those guys. They'll help you out. The more you talk to them, the better it's going to be for you. And you learn little things. The other thing I recommend, listen to live ATC. There's a ton of it out there. Foothills 420 radar contact, altitude passing.
Passing 1,200, Foothills 420.
Foothills 420, proceed direct inland. Climb maintain flow 250.
Inland, direct inland up to flight level 250, Foothills 420.
That website, liveatc.net, is a godsend. Listen to what the real world. Now, do they cheat occasionally? Yes. They're allowed to. They're allowed to cheat because they've done this for umpteen years. But listen to them and get that stuck in your head. Even if you're learning how to fly and be on the network, listen to how the real world guys, you can hear the Deltas, the Americans, the Southwests, all of them, how they say things. The more you hear it, the more it gets stuck in your head. But after that, I left Fat Sim for a little while. I got burned out as an instructor at ZDC and then came back at about 5 years ago to ZJX. Because I love Orlando, and got back controlling. I had to relearn some things. Some of us who are older remember the days of instead of having line up and wait, you had why can't I think of it now? Position and hold. So I used to be saying a position and hold a lot. That made sense to me. Line up and wait is something that's like, what? Line up and wait? And just say position hold. Don't work so hard. But so having to reteach myself that kind of stuff and knowing how to do that stuff. But I came back as an instructor. Then I became the ATM for a few years. Now I'm just a regular controller again. And the great thing about being a regular controller is I can just do this. I can be instructor without having to instruct on the network. I'm India Alpha November Golf Romeo. Welcome to the stream. Dave, some people just do clearance, delivery, and ground. I've had times I've worked events as just tower. I love those events. People think I'm nuts. I'm like, no. It's quiet. I don't have to do anything. This is the best times in the world. It's just a fun time. I got to give this guy over to F11 because he's going to cross over his airspace real quick. You know, I say it all the time. Feel free to work grounds. Clearance delivery is fun. Foothills 420, contact Orlando, approach 124.8. See ya.
24, you have a good night, Foothills 420.
Yes, take the test, Dave. It's a little bit harsh. Just a heads up. That test is not a. And I've said this, and I know there's some Vet USA people that listen to my stream. I go, you know, and I say it. I'm not bashing Vet USA, but sometimes some things that they might think are important really are not, and that does happen quite often in the Vet USA world. I go, hey guys, you know, I understand you want to know everything, but we actually have to think about who we're actually dealing with. You know, something people say is they say, oh, we don't do enough about teaching about VFR. I'm going to count my planes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Hello, American 1287, Charleston. That's a big bioflight on to Miami, please.
American 1287, Jacksonville Center, good evening. You're cleared to the Miami Airport via the Loggerhead 3 departure. GIP will transition, then is filed. Maintain 3000. Expect flight level 360, 10 minutes of departure. Departures with me, Squawk 6252.
American 1287, it's cleared Miami. Loggerhead 3, Gibbo, then as filed. We'll climb 3000. Expect after departure is with you and Squawk 6252.
American 1287, read back correct. Push stars discretion. Contact me for taxi. Expect runway 3 for departure. Charleston altimeter is 3016.
3016, we expect 03, and I'll call for taxi.
It is not timed, actually. The test is not timed. It's just a
Jack, Mission 2 Charlie Papa.
A lot of information. 2 Charlie Papa, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to show the Loc 21 VFR practice approach from Jackson.
2 Charlie Papa, you can proceed as requested. Give me a call when you're on the final.
2 Charlie Papa, okay.
The test is not timed. It's just a lot of information. It's a lot of information, and you got to take your time with it. It's not a lot of fun, but you can do it. Second, you give this guy a shortcut here. Southwest 2389. Proceed direct Surfer. Cross Surfer at 14,000. Orlando altimeter is 3008.
Direct Surfer, cross Surfer at 14,000, 3008, Southwest 2398. 2389.
It's close. But very good question. Yeah, that's my backstory of how I did what I did and how I got to where I am. Got someone asking for a brief. Evening. East Ops. No talk. Any questions? And you could see, Jake, how it's a lot. It sucks. I kind of wish that we went back to the old system of the RTX training. I mean, it's good to have this information, but I think the old system worked better. And that's one of the major concerns. Jake had said, you know, you worked better with working with someone. And that's one of the major concerns with the VAT USA Academy is a lot of people have different ways of learning. And one of the things that the Academy doesn't do is the practical side. And that is detrimental to the ARCTACs sometimes because all of a sudden you're trying to learn the you're going to have to learn everything again. I'll give you an example. When I was an instructor here at ZJX, I made my S1 course literally taking the slides from the VAT USA Academy and separating them per field. So we train in Jacksonville at 4 different fields: Hilton Head, Savannah, Sanford, and Jax. Hilton Head is to learn Class Delta operations. Very simple. Savannah is to learn a field that doesn't have any SIDS or stars. It's just get them off the ground. Sanford is because of the DTA's departure transition areas, and then Jax is your SIDS and stars. So we trained those 4 fields, and I had to break apart stuff you learned in the academy so that you're not getting overwhelmed. You're taking all that information that you have probably didn't have memorized at all and having to figure it out again. It is just a lot of information, and again, they don't practically train you, which is kind of one of the gripes I have with it. American 2133 at Grinch, resume normal speeds.
Normal speed at Grinch, American 2133.
November 354 Sierra Bravo at Grinch, resume normal speed.
Resume normal speed at Grinch, November 4 Sierra Bravo.
American 2133, contact Orlando approach 124.8. See ya.
124.8, Orlando approach, American 2133. Good night.
November 354 Sierra Bravo, contact Orlando approach 124.8.
Orlando approach 124.8. See ya.
I don't think it's not that they don't like VFR. It's more of they don't know what to do with VFR. They're so scared to use them. And we also try to simulate, like, you're not going to have someone doing pattern work in a Class Bravo airspace. Good luck with that. You're never going to have that.
And Jax 2 Charlie Pop is exit inbound on the Loc 2-1 practice approach. We'll talk to you in a bit.
2 Charlie Papa, Roger. Give me a call when you're airborne.
2 Charlie Pop.
But even with VFR, sometimes people don't know. I jokingly say this: why do people call for VFR flight following in VATSIM? What's the point of VFR flight following? 1, traffic avoidance. 2, weather. 3, to make sure that when you go down, we know where you are. Well, number 1, most planes have a radar in them. I believe, last I checked, a majority of the simulation planes are slant Limas. They all have a radar in them. 2, weather. Well, Microsoft Flight Sim. But, you can pretty much figure out the weather. 3, if you crash, I am not sending rescue for you. There's no way. I'm not going to, let's dispatch the helicopter. Nope. It's not going to happen. So I think a lot of people don't understand what the point of their VFR is. And also, doing practice approaches, I understand you want to practice. But think of it at a smaller field. Good evening, November 15. Think of it as at a smaller field. Imagine doing practice approaches at a non-towered field. That's even better because you know what? You don't have to talk to ATC at all. And Dave, when you talk about the Jessup, a lot of people actually don't know about that because it's not published in any real-world SOP. It is published in our Jacksonville SOPs for Orlando. For those, what Dave is talking about, the Jessup, there's 2 VFR arrivals into Sanford that are published on a chart. They're extremely easy. They literally just fly into a base, and it's very, very simple. But people don't know it. Again, I think it's the educational thing. I can pull it up. Let me... I think it's on AirNav. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it is. KSFB. This is a VFR sectional. Yep, there they are. The Monroe, the Jessup. They actually show it right here. And they literally tell you what the pilot. So if someone's going to say they're flying the Monroe, they're coming over Lake Monroe. If they're coming over the Jessup, they're flying over Lake Jessup. And they fly in, turn a base, done. It's very simple. But a lot of people don't look at those. They go, oh, I got a sectional chart? What is that? Because we are also focusing on about 1,000 other things. And this is why I also say, and I know I'll get heat from BatSim over this, I also say there's nothing wrong with issuing a cert just for clearance delivery. Let person work clearance delivery for a while.
Jacksonville Center, JetBlue 1475, flight level 340.
JetBlue 1475, Jacksonville Center, good evening, ident.
1475, ident.
2222. Work a clearance delivery, get to know it, and practice it. JetBlue 1475 radar contact about 26 miles south of the Fayetteville VOR. What's the hardest departure arrivals you dealt with or flown? Dealt with? I've flown some very funky ones over in Europe. I can't specifically think of ones off the top of my head. My favorite one, London City, not for the arrival, but for the ILS approach into London City. If you've never done that one, I think it's a 7 or 8 degree down on about 5 miles out. You're at 3,000. You got to shove that sucker down and keep it slow. The river visual is a good one. I'm lazy when it comes to the DCA river visual. For me, I just turn the RNAV on. I know how to fly it, and I've done it many times. I remember the good old days when we didn't have RNAVs into and out of Orlando, so you had to tell people remain clear of the P-31 restricted airspace north of the field. Yet people would still go through it. I thoroughly loved those because if they had FS passenger, you could hear them getting shot down if they went through it. AKA, you don't want to use FS passenger. I just remember just hearing it clink, 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 clink. Yep, there's one that didn't do it right. Best of luck. I also like
American 1287 is right taxi 03.
American aircraft. Say again, call sign. Sorry.
1287.
Roger, where you at in the field?
We just pushed off of Bravo 5 at Stern.
Roger, I just need you holding short an active taxiway, then I can give you taxi instructions.
Just give me a second.
So big thing, and we'll talk about this very quickly. I'm going to open the map. This is going to be on the tower side. I knew exactly where he was, but the problem is this area right here is all non-movement. I can't issue instruction. I have to get you got to get up to here. Got to get past this line. Then I can issue instruction. The ramp area is uncontrolled.
1287, we're short of Alpha.
1287, runway 3, taxi via Alpha Charlie.
3 by Alpha Charlie, American 1287.
It brings up the importance of knowing the airfield. The ramps are usually uncontrolled. Usually. And the reason why is think about what they can see and who owns it. Transat 463, leaving my airspace to the north. Washington's offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. Monica 122.8. Have a safe flight.
Transat 463 Heavy, switching to Unicom. Thanks for the ATC, sir. Bye-bye.
So, yep, those are the ones. I love flying London City. If you haven't done it, it's great. Jake, thanks for the tip, dude. And make sure to tell people. Tell people about the stream. Everything's on YouTube now, too. So if you want to rewatch this, I'm saving all the videos. They're there. You know, I'm going to try each night to have a different topic of discussion that we can talk about. Tonight with the taxi instructions, which I'll go over again in just a little while. The readback and the taxi instructions. But, you know, the more people know about, the better it is. And I want to help everyone. That's the big thing about my stream. I'm not here to show how great of a controller I am, because I am not. I am a good controller. I'm not great. My hope is to educate people with 15 plus years of doing this.
Jacksonville Center, Southwest 844, climbing through 15,000 for flight level 320.
Southwest 844, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Squawk 2260 and ident.
2260 and ident for Southwest 844.
So yeah, I do this because I want to educate people. I want people to feel like they have a place they can ask questions, that they feel like, oops, that sounds like a stupid question. But I don't want to say it to a controller that might get discouraged. Southwest 844, radar contact about 20 miles south of the Charlotte Airport. Climb maintain flight level 320.
Climb maintain flight level 320 for Southwest 844.
American 1287, we're short of 03, ready to go.
American 1287, the wind 0706, runway 03, clear for takeoff.
0, and 1287.
And because there's a lot of new people in the stream, some have asked, where did fake weather, fake planes come from? Long story short, I was controlling an event and a pilot asked for weather deviation in the midst of the event getting slammed. It's on an Air Force Proud video. And I told the pilot, in the kindest of intentions, you can fly through the cloud in the weather. The fake weather is not going to hurt your fake plane. So that's where fake weather, fake plane came from. It is stuck. The ZJX RTAC, pretty much that's how they labeled me. So that's where it goes. And it was in the midst of an event. It was a nightmare. I was getting frustrated. It's like, just fly through it. It's okay. It's not going to hurt your plane. And he landed perfectly fine. Air Force Proud had done a whole thing of like a news article or something of it. It was a great stream. It will live in infamy.
Southwest 2389, leaving 360 for 14,000.
Southwest 2389, roger. I mean, I've had other good situations. I had yeah, that was me. I had a person at Myrtle Beach that was asking for VFR clearance out of Myrtle Beach. You don't get VFR clearance out of Myrtle Beach. That doesn't exist. So I kind of said denied and ripped him a little bit. But it's okay.
American 1287, we're airborne passing 1.7 for 3,000.
American 1287, radar contact, climb, maintain, flight level 360.
Level 360, American 1287.
Do I like controlling? What do I like controlling? Approach, tower, or center? It depends the day. And I say it depends the day because days like today, it's quiet. I love it. I like quietness. I like a little bit of traffic because I got to keep myself going. I got to, I don't want to have just 3 planes and just doing this for 3 planes. That will drive me nuts. Give me 1 second. EMA airspace to the south. ZMA offline. Monitor advisory. I'm sure there's a shortcut for these, but I'm not thinking that hard. So
Jackson, good day. Vision Jet 2 Charlie Papa just off of Hilton Head Airport, 2 miles to the north, requesting IFR clearance to Orlando.
2 Charlie Papa, you clear the Orlando Radar Victor's Gipple that is filed. Maintain flight level, squawk 5524.
All right, squawk 5524 for a 2 Charlie Pop.
2 Charlie Pop, read back correct, proceed direct Wapner when able.
Whopper when able, 2 Charlie Pop.
Let's see. Am I a real controller? In real life, no. Sadly, I never did that. My degree is in music education. After the Marine Corps, I got my degree in music ed, then became a medical insurance biller. Who thought that one? What was my best controlling experience environment you were at? I will tell you, and I'm not being biased here, I love controlling in Jacksonville. 1, there ain't no mountains. I don't have to worry about any of them. 2, the RTAC itself is very much of a family RTAC. I've gained the bestest of friends. When it comes to experiences, I've had, we always have a great event every single year. It used to be the Not So Scary F&O. Now it's the Halloween Horror Nights F&O. I made it the Halloween Horror Nights F&O just because it sounds cooler than Mickey Not So Scary F&O. But I loved our last F&O, the last Halloween Horror Nights F&O. It was a great event, and I got to work Tower. Yep, Tower. I took care of Tower. That was it. It was great. And I really like those events that everyone's doing the right thing. Those make it fun. You know, they talk about A1 violations, that everyone's not having a pleasurable time in the network. And I go, you know how we solve A1 violations? By doing the right thing. And having a good time, having fun doing what we do, makes the biggest of differences. It makes the biggest of differences to have an event where everyone follows the departure out of Orlando the correct way. Everyone taxis correctly. Everyone reads back correctly. It makes it a great way to enjoy life, and that's why I love it. Thanks, Ellie Likes Plates. And best of luck. I know I got a couple. I got a couple people in our RTAC that are at Embry Riddle right now doing ATC. Actually, we have a guy who is in our RTAC. He won't label himself because I don't want him to get him in trouble. Who actually just became a Cleveland Center controller, and he attributes a lot of what he does, what he learned from what we did here, which is awesome that he can do that. You know. I've seen crazier things on airplanes occasionally. I also grew up in the days when I used to be stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and the closest airport to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, for those who don't know, is Jacksonville Albert Ellis Airport, KOAJ. For the longest time, it had U.S. Airways Express on the Dash 8-100. If you don't know what a Dash 8-100 is, a little prop job that holds about 40 people, and it was bad. If it was an hour and 20-minute flight, and it was uncomfortable. It was very, very uncomfortable. They now service that airport with CRJs 279s and Boeing 717s. I'm like, geez, where were those when I was flying out of there? And the flights are cheaper now. The funny thing is, back in, this is 2003, if you wanted to go out of Jacksonville International or Jacksonville Regional Airport, whatever they are, it would cost you $500 to go from OAJ to BDL with a stop in Charlotte. But if you were smart, you got on the bus and went up to Raleigh-Durham Airport. Yes, the bus was a 3-hour bus ride, 4-hour bus ride. Kind of sucked. But you could get a straight shot out of Raleigh-Durham for $130 round trip. So do I want to pay $500 to go to OAJ to connect to Charlotte, or do I want to take that little bus trip to Raleigh-Durham and pay a whole lot less? And when you're a broke Marine that doesn't make a lot of money, that bus ride is a really nice bus ride to Raleigh-Durham, and got to know it very well. Funniest VATSIM act moment with the pilot. Oof. I think I like the one that his mom told him he had to step away. He had to he comes online and says, I got to disconnect because my mom said I needed to disconnect. I can't even respond to that. Like, what do you say to him? Okay, have a good one. Bye. Thanks. Have a good one. I hope you enjoyed your services. But I also remember it's like, yeah, there are kids on the network, so I have to remember that. But that was my funniest one, was the kid going, yeah, I got to disconnect because my mom says I got to get off the sim. That was just awesome. I heard Breeze is going to New Bern. Breeze has been blowing it. So Breeze actually has a hub in Hartford. That's where their first hub was. So they have nonstop service from BDL to New Bern starting, I think, in May, which will be awesome. Again, I wish these flights existed. I didn't have them back then. It was all just, sadly, it was all just U.S. Airways. We didn't have, if you went to Wilmington, you got Delta and American on bigger planes, or U.S. Airways on bigger planes, but nothing like they have nowadays. Air Canada 117 leaving my airspace to the south. Miami's offline radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. I'm not going to have a safe flight.
Have a good night. Hopefully your bracket isn't busted.
Ooh. Who lost tonight?
All I know is I won money on Oakland beating Kentucky.
Wow.
Have a good night.
See ya. But yeah, Breeze has been blowing up like crazy. They're doing nonstop services out of Orlando now, out of Hartford to Orlando, which means, not going to have to deal with Spirit Airways or being, I'm hoping to test out Breeze. We haven't been able to do that yet. And that's a major, major issue with the 3 airports on the coast there. For those who don't know of the Jacksonville area, if you go, this is south coast of North Carolina, there are 3 airports that are literally 30 minutes driving from each other. Maybe 40 if you count traffic. You have Wilmington, you have Jacksonville, you have New Bern. And Wilmington has always been the bigger one that's had more traffic, more possibilities. It had 8 gates. KOAJ used to have a half a gate. They got a new terminal. It was great. Used to have a half a gate. That's all it had. And then also you had New Bern, which had 0 gates. You had to walk out to your plane. So you have 3 airports that are serviced by express carriers. You're connecting no matter what. But why do you want to go to a smaller airport? Why would an airline want to go to KOAJ? I'm surprised they're going to New Bern. I'm really interested to see what Breeze does at New Bern. I hope they blow that airport up and make it huge. Southwest 2389, contact Orlando approach 124.8.
248, Southwest 2398, 2389. Thanks for the service. Have a good one.
Langer R, yes, it is under the Wilmington TRSA. It's under the Wilmington approach. It used to be non-towered. That was the biggest upgrade. They went, ooh, we have a towered field now. Watch out. It was the huge change. We have a tower now. I don't even know if New Bern has a tower yet. We'll find out. I'm sure they finally updated to the 20th century. But it's a beautiful little one-strip airport. If you ever get to go into it, or if you fly it in the sim, KOAJ, serviced by Delta out of Atlanta, American out of Charlotte, CRJ 279s. I think Delta still flies their 717 into there. I'm not positive. Great field, simple approaches. It's just really nice. They've been talking about that ILS runway 23. I like flying. I just love flying that.
Jacksonville
field. It's
Center,
so nice.
United 1192, flight level 350.
United 1192, Jacksonville Center, squawk 2440 and ident.
That's 2440 for United 1192.
That's affirmative. Langer, make sure we follow me. Yay, follow along. Follow la 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 la. I won't sing, I'm sorry. United 1192 radar contact about 150 miles south of the November Papa Alpha VOR. Good evening. That's what I thought. They're flying that 717. Oh, Envoy bid. There were biddings for Envoy to do DFW route, but it never happened. Again, it's that. Can they fill the plane? Sadly, I hate saying that. You know, they get a lot of military traffic. That's a guarantee. You got Camp Lejeune right there. That's 20,000 Marines right there. But you don't get it when they're, and there's a lot of training going on. But it's tough. Langer, we've actually got the Florence stuff online. We're working on this. We actually have video maps of them now. I had to design them a little bit, and I got the real word. It's interesting. We got the video maps of them, and most airports have 100, 200 video maps. Florence has 15. It's very, very simple. I would have loved to see. I mean, there's a lot of southern guys that go into Camp Lejeune, so DFW probably would have been like an ideal route. But again, can they make it profitable? And that's the biggest question. Sunwings 324 leaving my airspace to the north. DC's offline. Radar services terminated. Frequency change approved. Monitor Q1 to have a safe flight.
122 decimal 8, summing 324. See ya.
I'm hoping, the thing with Jacksonville is, can you make it profitable? Because the U.S. government's not going to fly people on the yellow highlighter. They're not. You're not going to fly people. The U.S. government's not going to fly people on Frontier. And unless someone really makes a difference, Breeze. I hope that works out for them. I really do. I really hope New Bern works out for them. But, you have this monopoly of airlines that we don't really have a choice. And that's the problem with the Coastal Carolina area. It's just, I hope Breeze expands. I want Breeze to, Breeze is booming like crazy. I think they're just waiting on aircraft. I think that's their biggest issue. What's up? Okay. It's fine. I looked at it. And that would be nice to have DCA and ID or ID. That would be great to have them. We'll see. I know that Wilmington used to have DCA routes. Wilmington to DCA, and okay, see you. I control Bravo Echo. He was going offline, losing my Jacksonville ground controller. His computer was overheating, so I was like, "Ooh, that sucks." So that's why I was getting a briefing. I've been there, done that. November 2 Charlie Papa cross Bithoet. Excuse me, not Bithoet 11. Give me 1 second. I gotta look at the chart. November 2 Charlie Papa cross Llama at 12,250 knots. Orlando altimeter is 3008.
Alright, 0 on the meter and crossing Llama at 12,250 knots. 2 Charlie Papa.
One of the few arrivals that normally doesn't get used, the Bithos 7. So occasionally you have to look back at it and go, oh yeah, that's that one. Oops. But great questions, guys, and great conversation about. Like I said, Coastal Carolina is a really fun place. If you
Jacksonville Center, good evening. JetBlue 501 with you, flight level 360.
JetBlue 501, Jacksonville Center, good evening. I don't watch Kennedy Steve. I should. I heard he's pretty good. Now, hopefully I can have, followers like he has. JetBlue 501 radar contact about 15 miles south of the Charlotte VOR. Good evening. Southwest 844 descend via the get out 1 arrival. Orlando altimeter is 3008.
Descend by the get out or arrival. And what was the altimeter again?
3008.
Roger.
The only one that I watch, and again, he doesn't pay me for saying this. None of them do. I watch Big Earn. If you look up Big Earn, he's a pilot with Southwest Airlines. Super cool guy. I would love to meet him in real life.
Jacksonville Center, good evening. United 351 is at Jacksonville runway 8, ready to go.
United 351, Jacksonville Center, good evening. Upon departure, fly runway heading, runway 8, clear for takeoff, wind 0804.
Upon departure, runway heading, runway 8, clear for takeoff.
Yeah, I would love
United
to meet
351.
Big Earn. He does a lot more podcasting now, and more conversation. I liked when he was just in the cockpit and going to these places. I remember when he was doing his check ride for his captain stuff. He was doing the captain stuff, and it was cool being along with him. And he actually got to go to Boston. Didn't get to stay there very long, but it was like when he was talking about going to Boston and the hecticness of Boston. I was like, I know that. Been there, done that. Boston is always a crazy airport. Poorly designed. But they're also landlocked, and the bay kind of ruins that for them all.
2 Charlie Papa stepping out for 10.
Roger, give me a call when you're back. Yeah, there's another good airport. If you want good scenery, Boston Logan. Really cool flying into there. If you're landing to the north, you fly over the cruise ship area, which is really just awesome. If you're landing south, you follow the Revere Beach, another great view. But Boston's a fun one to fly in, and it's not too, in the sim, it's not too bad on the frame rates. I try to stay out of the JFK area because the frame rates just kill you.
Jacksonville Center, Delta 636 at Jacksonville, requesting I for departure clearance as filed.
Delta 636, Jacksonville Center, good evening. You're cleared to the Houston Airport via Jet and 2 departure caps transition as filed. Maintain 3000, expect flight level 360, 10 minutes after departures with me, Squawk 0741.
Departure jet into departure caps transitions, climb maintain 3000, success level 360, 10 minutes after departure frequency with you, squawk 0741, Delta 636.
Delta 636, read back correct, expect runway 8, call me for taxi. United 351, radar contact altitude passing.
.351 passing 1,000 for 3.
United 351, turn right direct the Ormond Beach VOR, climb and maintain 8,000.
Turn right on Beach VOR, and we will climb to 8,000.
Yeah, Jackson Hole's another good one. I know there's an X-Plane freeware that's actually really good, too. I think it's an X-Plane 11. I don't know if they updated it, but it was really, really good. Bradley Airport's a good scenery in Microsoft if you get the payware. KBDL. Definitely not frame rate intensive. Orlando payware, it's kind of like one of those mandatory things. You got to get it because it fixes all the issues of Orlando, which there are a majority of them in there, which is a highly annoying thing. November 5, Alpha Mike, leaving my airspace to the north. Atlanta's offline. Radar services are terminated. Please change approved. Mike, have a safe flight.
Right over 22.8, November 5, Alpha Mike.
Peace. United 1192, leaving my airspace to the south. Miami's offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change approved. Mike, have a safe flight.
Going to advisory, United 1192. See ya.
And we're going to give this another 10 minutes, and then we're going to call this stream a night, because it's 11 o'clock where I'm in. I got to work tomorrow. Going offline and top. But thank you all. Tonight we talked about the readback in the taxi. So as I said in the readback, the only thing you're absolutely required, if nothing else
Two
changed.
Charlie Pop checking in.
2 Charlie Pop. Go ahead.
Now we're checking back in.
Oh, Roger. Welcome back. So we talked about the readback. What is required if nothing changes? The only thing is the transponder. That's a VATSIM-ism, not a real-life-ism. Real-life-ism. I don't know.
Jacksonville Center, November 287 Romeo Hotel, radio check.
5x5.
287 Romeo Hotel, disregard.
So, as I said, excuse me, the only thing that you need to do is the transponder, but I also said read back the whole thing. It doesn't hurt. It also affirms what you've been doing. If you don't know if the pushback is valid, look in that ATIS or look in that PDC. If it will
287 Romeo Hotel, IFR2 Bain.
Which airport are you at?
My apologies, we're down at Jacksonville.
November 287 Romeo Hotel, you're cleared to Mike Yankee Alpha Bravo Airport via Xbox 2 departure Xbox that is filed. Maintain 3000 departure with me, Squawk 7672.
Clear to Miami, correction. Bain, Xbox 2, Xbox transition, maintain 3000 Squawk 7672 for 287 Romeo Hotel.
287 Romeo Hotel, read back correct. Push start discretion, contact me taxi, expect runway 8 for departure.
Runway 8, and we'll call you for taxi, 7 Romeo Hotel, thanks.
So as I said, the only thing required on
Jack
that
Center, November Bravo, Whiskey 22 with you at 8,000 feet. We provide ATC services into Tampa Executive.
Nope, because that's owned by Tampa.
Okay, I just see it within your boundaries, but not a problem. Have a great day.
Bravo Whiskey 222. The best thing to do is go to airnav.com. It will tell you who owns it. It will give you all your answers you need.
Thank you, November Whiskey 22.
So we talked about that. We talked about the pushback. Look in that ATIS. See what's actually there. If it says push at your discretion, or it was in the PDC, or if the controller told you. And they sometimes tell you in weird ways. They might say, contact me for taxi. That means the pushback's at your discretion. That means the startup's at your discretion. It might be, like Boston, contact me for pushback. So that's where that comes from. On the taxi instructions, make sure you write them down. Take a pen and paper. That's why we have paper. Write it down and say, okay, how am I getting to runway 8? I guarantee you, these guys are going out of Jacksonville, if you can see over in the tower chart there. 7 Romeo Hotel is going to be taking Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Alpha Lima. If he wrote that down, he wouldn't get it messed up. I'm almost guaranteeing he's not going to get the read back correct. Hopefully he proves me wrong. So that's why you write it down. Nothing wrong with write it down. And make sure you read it back. Runway 8 taxi, runway 8 taxi via Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Alpha Lima.
Jack Blue Streak 5311 through 145 for 16,000 direct worms.
Blue Streak 5311 Jacksonville Center. Good evening, climb maintain plus 310.
Out to 310 Blue Streak 5311.
So make sure you read that stuff back. Make sure that when you're taxiing to the gate, make sure you say it. Taxi the gate via Alpha Hotel or whatever way you're getting there. Just read back what they say. It doesn't hurt. Next, Jane, we'll talk about IFR departures out of the tower and the tower side of stuff. It's quite easy, but you'd be surprised what people screw up. We'll talk about reading back that RNAV to a first fix. We'll talk about reading back that runway heading and the importance of that kind of stuff on our next stream, which I don't know. It might be tomorrow. It might be this weekend. I haven't figured out when it's going to be. It will be in the next 3 to 5 days. It's kind of like, shipping. We'll get it there in 3 to 5 days.
And Jacksonville, 287 Romeo Hotel, ready to taxi.
287 Romeo Hotel, runway 8 taxi via Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Hotel Alpha Lima.
Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Alpha Lima for 287 Romeo Hotel.
287 Romeo Hotel. That's Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Alpha Lima.
Golf 1 Bravo Hotel Alpha Lima for 287 Romeo Hotel. My apologies.
What'd I say? If he wrote it down, guarantee he wouldn't get it wrong. But, so we'll talk about tower stuff, the IFR tower. We'll talk about VFR. We're going to do a stream in the future about VFR. And what are the requirements for VFR? Entry instructions, maintaining separation, and stuff like that. We'll talk about approach and departure procedures. And we'll even get to someday in the future about the center stuff, the stuff that you see on the main screen that says center ERAM view. We'll talk about different things.
Center 2 Charlie Papa's going to call in tonight. We'll talk to you later.
2 Charlie Papa. See you.
See ya.
So, weather and clear of clouds. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's actually really specific things that need to happen with all of them. I'm going to do a no more handoffs, so no more handoffs. So, I'm going to get rid of the traffic. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, tell people about this. Tell everyone. Tell your friends, family, coworkers. And I will happily